Hi, my name is Barbara Frank, and I am the curator of this establishment, which is the Southern Utah University Archaeology Repository. It is a federal repository. We keep collections off of federal land in Utah and the Arizona Strip, and also some state things from the state of Utah lands too. Most of the collections here have come from federal archaeological surveys and excavations that have been conducted since the early 1960s in this area. The repository was first established in the early 1960s by Richard Thompson, who used to teach anthropology at SUU, and I've been in charge since 1995, so for 20 years. In the late 1970s, an agreement was reached with the federal government that they could also curate their collections here at SUU, and so now the majority of the collections are from those from federal lands. The majority of the collections from the repository are from southwestern Utah, from Washington, Iron, Beaver County, Garfield County, Kane County, and also, as I said, the Arizona Strip, the area of Arizona north of the Grand Canyon. That's so that we can keep collections that come from this area in a central place. And when people want to come and study the collections, graduate students, other archaeologists and professionals, they can come to one place and the collections will be available to them here. All of the collections here have come from authorized excavations and surveys. And as we look at some of them, you will notice that they all have little numbers on them. And these numbers correspond to records. And in the paper records, we're able to tell you exactly what site the artifacts came from. And if it's an excavated site, it will also tell you the area within the site that the artifacts came from. That way, all the collections here are provenienced. We also do curate some collections that people have collected in the past in this area and donated to the university. They're useful for doing academic exploration of the artifacts, but unfortunately we don't know exactly where those artifacts come from. The artifacts that you're looking here on the table are provenience. This beautiful sandal was found in a box here in the collections, and it has no provenience. It came from somebody's personal collection. It can be looked at and studied, and we have had people come and look at it who have done work on Anasazi sandals, but we'll never know exactly where it is from. And that's why we ask when people find artifacts out in the wild or out when they're traipsing about looking at things, that they, particularly in this day and age, you can use your phone and take a picture of the area, and also if you have some kind of GPS, you can get a location and you can take that to your local archaeologists. Here in Cedar City, we have archaeologists at the Bureau of Land Management, the Forest Service. You can even bring them here to the repository, and we can tell you about the things that you found, and also eventually maybe make a permanent record of what you found, a site you found, or an artifact that you found. That's why we ask that people leave things in place, because when you take them out, they lose their provenience. We have a very full prehistoric history starting back in the Paleo-Indian period, 10 to 12,000 years ago in the West Desert, but progressing all the way into the historic period. So we had the Paleo-Indians, the Archaic culture, which and then followed by the farmers, the horticulturalists, the Fremont up here in Iron County, and the Virgin Anasazi down in Washington, in the southern part of the state. And this is then followed by the historic Paiute, who were here in the area when the settlers came. And we have artifacts that reflect all of these time periods, but principally our artifacts come from the horticultural people, the agriculturalists, the Fremont and the Anasazi, because they were settled. And they had homes, pit houses, and storage room facilities that we can go back and excavate now and learn about where they lived and how they lived, the foods they ate, and we can recover these different artifacts that you see out here on the table. I tried to segregate them a little bit, so over here on this side we've got Fremont artifacts, which would come from Iron County. Many of these came from an excavation up in Summit, so just up the road from here. And then we also have artifacts that come from the Anasazi culture down in Washington County, Kane County, Garfield County too. So some of the most interesting artifacts we have are these figurines that are Fremont and also very, very scarce in general. There are probably less than 150 Fremont figurines in all of the collections that have been done in Utah. We think they're ceremonial because we don't find very many of them, and they're frequently found in caches or groups of 6 to 12 figurines. So we're very lucky to have these here at the repository. Many of our figurines are up on display at Fremont State Park, so if you're up there, you can see them up there too. The Fremont were known for having very nice pottery, very burnished and smooth. The Anasazi also known for having nice pottery, but if you look at these two jars, you can see a little difference in shape, but also in just the outside texture of the pots, and that helps us tell which cultural areas that they are from.